born that time, right? Many of you, but you need to know. Okay? What happened in the market? So you will find very rare phases in the market when the valuations come down or they start trading at below the fair valuations. But most of the time, they will be trading at a very high valuations. Not very high, but I would say above the fair valuation. So tell me one thing, the people who have entered into the market, have people always entered during the COVID pandemic only? Have people always started like investing during the 2008? Have people always started to invest during the 2000 ka crisis? Have people always started to invest in this US-Iran war situation? People have been investing in between also. They have invested in the 2021 bubble also when the market started to rise, and still they made money like till the 2024 peak. They have been investing continuously and they have made money. So those analysts who say not to invest, stay away from markets. Market is expensive. उनको बोलो आपने कितना पैसा डाला है. They themselves have put in the money in the market. They fully put in the market. So it's a way to mislead people, to make you much more confused. So staying invested in the market is the key. करेक्ट. तो वो चीज हमको ध्यान रखनी मार्केट में. अगर हम वो चीज नहीं समझेंगे, इट विल बी अ प्रॉब्लम. So market will always trade at a higher valuation, especially Indian market or the US markets. Because we are, especially India की मैं बात करूं, India has been the growing market always. India is the only market whose nominal GDP has been growing by 10-12%. Abhi the estimates have been cut down, like due to the various reasons and all. But again, from next year onward, the estimation is we will again bounce back to some 11%, 12% odd in case of nominal GDP. A high growth market always deserves a higher price to earning multiple. If the market is high growing, the companies are high growing, will always have a higher price to earning multiple. इस बात की तुम काट बांध लो. Always. Indian companies, the level of ROCE the Indian companies give you is phenomenal. Indian companies give you a 16 to 17% ROCE. तुम कोई भी मार्केट देख लो उठा के, pick up US markets, right? Or you pick up like any of the markets. I would say like towards the Asian markets. Consistently, these two markets have been able to give a 16-17% ROE, or somewhere between like 18-19% ROE. That has been Taiwan and USA. That's it. No other market except a Taiwan or a USA has been able to give you 16-70% continuous ROE compounding at an index level. I'm saying company level ROE is 30-40% also. So why shouldn't Indian markets command a higher P? For all of those who come to you and say ना कि Indian markets are expensive, हमें मतलब यहाँ पे नहीं डालना पैसा, उनको बोलो Indian markets have been growing at a very high GDP rate, at a nominal GDP rate of like 10-11%, 12% odd. ROCs have been compounding by 16-17%. India is the only market that gives you exposure towards different opportunities. US market is concentrated just towards the Magnificent 7 or the Magnificent 10 AI. Chinese market is being concentrated towards AI or chips. You just have those Baidu, those like SMIC, your Tencent kind of companies. Your Magnificent 7 is contributing towards like 70-80% of the market cap of US, of the S&P 500. China की 4-5 companies are contributing towards the majority of the market caps. People are shifting towards Taiwan. Taiwan just has one company like TSMC. That's contributing to more than 50% of the Taiwan's market cap. एक ही कंपनी ताइवान की पूरी मार्केट कैप का like 50% है. साउथ कोरिया, वी जस्ट हैव 2 कंपनीज, एसडी हाइनेक्स एंड सैमसंग. एसडी हाइनेक्स का नाम शायद नहीं सुना होगा, बट सैमसंग का नाम सुना होगा. Those companies are contributing to 50% of the market cap of South Korea towards chips and semiconductors, AI. India is the only market I understand in AI, like we are like far behind. We are entering into the semiconductor also now and chips also. But India is the only market which is giving you exposure on semiconductor chips को छोड़ के, like वो भी like हमने start कर दिया है, towards hospitals, towards consumer discretionary, towards banks, towards financialization. You have different themes here. So why shouldn't the Indian markets trade at premium? So that can be a pitch that you can say to the people who say, "Bhai, the Indian market is overvalued." It will trade always at a premium. जब तक मार्केट क्रैश नहीं होगी, कुछ वॉर नहीं आएगा, कुछ मान लो कि जियोपॉलिटिकल टेंशन नहीं होगी, कुछ कोविड पार्ट 4-5 नहीं आएगा, होपफुली ना आया, टचवुड कभी भी, ये सिचुएशंस अगर नहीं होंगी, Indian markets will always trade at a premium. One more thing we also need to understand here is the same exercise is done at the stock level also. For example, if I take PTC Industries, the P currently is this, right? They will say the past 10 years P has been this. So they and on the basis on that, they will say the company is overvalued or the company is undervalued. See, the thing is, every 10 year, the price to earning multiple of the companies will change. Every 10 year, 5 years, they change. Okay, 5 years back, the average price to earning multiple for Nifty 50 was 16 and not 20.5. 10 years back, the average price to earning multiple was 13.5. उस टाइम निफ्टी का लेवल भी कम था. उस टाइम निफ्टी वाज नॉट एज high as like 22,000 or 23,000. We reached as high as like 26,000 also. But उस टाइम निफ्टी 50 का लेवल इतना हाई नहीं था. Correct? So every 5 years, 10 years, the price to earning multiple will get upgraded. If we as of now we say that 22 price to earning multiple is expensive, 5 years from now or maybe after 2 years, this 22 will become the average 10-year price to earning multiple. And then we might be trading at it 24 times or 25 times. So markets become mature, markets become growing, new sectors add, like new industries come into place. So tell me one thing, if you're working upon semiconductor also in India, हम खुद की chips बनाना start करेंगे after a few years, right? We have started to work upon AI. Then won't the Indian markets also command a much higher P than this 22 later? Of course, yes. New businesses, new growth, new earnings, new landscape. The P will rise. Correct? Also, देखो P पे देखो इतने सारे तुम्हारे लॉजिक्स हैं. ठीक है, मार्केट में हमको बस P बता देते हैं. That is the way we need to understand P. The price to earning multiple is impacted by three factors: growth, interest rate, and risk. So growth we talked about. Higher the growth, higher would be the price to earning multiple. Higher the growth of the company. And growth I'm talking about in terms of companies का size बड़ा हो रहा है. Companies earning is rising. Companies cash flows are rising. Companies ROCE, ROE is rising. And that is what I mean by the company's growth. Right? The company's size is expanding. Growth is always a function of ROE into the plowback ratio. In terms of corporate finance, like this is being इसको like हम B लिखते हैं, but for the sake of your understanding, यहाँ पे retention लिख देते हैं, plowback लिख देता हूँ. So plowback is nothing but how much money you are reinvesting in the business. So growth का formula, if you want to calculate the growth rate for any company or the reinvestment rate for any company, the reinvestment rate is always same as the growth rate or closer to that. ठीक है? The formula for that is the company's current ROE into the plowback ratio. That is how much money the business is throwing back in the business to expand, to diversify. Your ROE into the plowback or simply the retention ratio, right? If your dividend payout ratio, जो मैं पढ़ा था, your DPS by EPS, right? अगर आपका वो 20% है, it means the retention ratio is 80%. 100 रुपए का प्रॉफिट है, 20 डिविडेंड दे दिया, the 80 is like retained only. Common sense. And that way we can calculate the retention ratio. So growth is a function of the ROE and the plowback. If your ROE will be higher, your plowback will be higher. Ultimately, the growth will be higher. And if your growth will be higher, the price to earning will also be higher. Interest rate. Interest rates tends to have an inverse relationship with the price to earning multiple. Higher the interest rates, lesser would be the price to earning multiple. Why? Because when we shall learn about DCF modeling, you are discounting the future cash flows by a discount rate, WACC. Interest rate is a component of WACC. Interest rate is a component of WACC. You have to use interest rate to calculate WACC. If this interest rate is rising, your denominator is a bigger number now. And hence, your cash flows will be a smaller number. The present value of the future cash flows, right? If your discounting factor, if your weighted average cost of capital or interest rate becomes a higher number, the valuations will come down because the cash flows will come down. So in that case, the price to earning will also come down. So growth has a direct relationship with the price to earning multiple. Higher the growth, higher would be the price to earning multiple. In case of interest rate, higher the interest rates, lower would be the price to earning multiple. And same with risk. Because whenever the risk rises in the market, the interest rates also start rising in the market, right? Because there is always a possibility of bankruptcy, default in the market, right? So same logic, inverse relationship with the price to earning multiple. So these three relationships is something that we need to understand. ठीक है, तो ये हमने समझा. Now, if I go to screener, let me open Chrome and go to. And if I take a company, HUL, for example, the current P is 48.9. The current P is 48.9. If I go down, what's the company's EPS trailing 12 months? 64.01. ये देखो 64.01. Everybody?
Yes, sir.
दिख रहा है?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
With me?
Yes, sir.
So here you get a 64.01 for trailing 12-month EPS. And I think it's updated as of March. ठीक है. EPS यहाँ पे बढ़ रहा है. Okay. Your price to earning multiple is 48.9. ये हमने पढ़ा. अब अगर हम स्टार्ट पे जाएं, प्राइस छोड़ दो, द प्राइस टू अर्निंग मल्टीपल. लेट्स सी अ 10-year एवरेज. ठीक है, इट सेज द मीडियन पी हैज बीन 59 on a 10-year basis and the current P is trading at 48. Ideally, we can say that as of now, the company is undervalued.
Yes, sir.
10-year median has been 59 and Abhi is trading at 48. Now it's the median P. It's not average P. Average is different from median, I guess.
Yes, sir.
Ab, what's the problem with the average? And that is what the analysts tend to do. Average number can be very much skewed. If you have a few of higher values, right, the average can become very high. If you have like much of the smaller values, the average can become very low. If we talk about the Indian markets, like maybe at the index level, the price to earning multiple, and इस बात को ध्यान से सुनना, the price to earning multiple for many sectors is not same. IT sector is trading at a very low price to earning multiple as of now, like 16, 17 times. Hospitals and pharma companies are trading at some 35 times, 36 times price to earning multiple. Where consumer companies like HUL or like consumer durable companies, they trade at like 60, 70 P. So the dispersion in the price to earning multiple is very high. Some sectors, if you talk about a public sector companies, they trade at single digit price to earning multiples, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13. Correct? So broadly, the price to earning multiple for like every sector is like not same. They're trading at different price to earning multiples. And in this way, the average can be skewed towards the higher price to earning multiple sectors. And nowadays, the new age companies have come into place like Eternal or Ola or Policy Bazaar, TB Fintech. Unke P's are more than 500, 600. Correct? The average P can be skewed. The best way, which I recommend to everybody, is never use average number. Use a median number. So always compare your valuations not with average, but with the median. Because much of the volatility in case of the price to earning multiples in case of medians gets skewed out. Because median will take the middle two values. Right? आप ascending descending में range करोगे, based upon or the formula will be different, based upon even the formula shall be different, n by 2 plus 1 by 2 जो भी रहते हैं formulas. Correct? you shall be taking the middle two values. So hence